Welcome to the Football Pyramid Talk podcast. Available to listen to on YouTube and Spotify. George, Simon and Stirling as your hosts. 7 different leagues. Enjoy the episode. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Pyramid Talk podcast, episode 27 today, and we are back with the usual crew. Welcome back, Stirling. Had a good holiday?
Yeah, it was banging, mate. Enjoyed it. Recommend Morocco for everyone listening.
100%. It looks for good from the Instagram photo. So, yeah, Premier League football back. All the 7 leagues will be covered today, and I think we should just get straight into it with the game I wanted to cover, Chelsea versus West Ham. I mean, it was a game really of two halves. It looked like Chelsea were in the mud at half-time. 2-0 up, West Ham were. Wan-Bissaka, both assists. Bowen and Somerville with the goals. But then Pedro, Cucurella and Fofana came off the bench, I'm pretty sure it was, all down the left-hand side. So clearly West Ham were using that as a spot on the pitch to exploit, because that's where they were getting a lot of joy. Made the changes. Pedro's brilliant for Chelsea. Watched the second half. Goal and assist off the bench, and Fofana whipped in a really good cross as well, showing the changes made a real difference in the game. But yeah, it was a really good second half performance. I think Nuno will be absolutely raging that he's not got 3 points out of that game, even a point. It was the first time Chelsea had come from 2 goals behind at half time to win a game in 50 plus matches. Just to summarise how much of a poor result really it was on the grand scheme of things for West Ham, but that tussle at the end, you must have saw it. I mean,
That was my favourite part of the game.
When
Pedro.
Adama pushing over Cucurella, Pedro pushes him, and then Adama goes up to him, and Pedro looks like he's got his life in his eyes. He's like, "Oh God, I'm about to die here." Absolutely,
he looked like he saw a ghost, mate. He was absolutely shitting himself.
And
would be as well. Adama's like brick shithouse running at him. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and Tadibo looked like Yeah, he did. And Tadibo looked like he wanted to kill someone when he got sent off, because he literally choked Pedro out, didn't he? No one saw it, obviously, because it was so much going on at the time. But, yeah, I mean, it ended with a red card and a very, I don't even know how you'd put it, just a mess of an end to a football game.
It's just mayhem, really.
Yeah, just mayhem at the end. But what did you think of it?
Credit to Rosenior, really, wasn't it? Making the subs, as you said, exploiting the left-hand side, down Chelsea's left-hand side, the right-hand side of the defence for West Ham, as you said. Mm-hmm. Really credit to Rosenior, and he's proven a lot of people wrong, don't you think, Dad?
Yeah, definitely. I was really pleased, even though it was Chelsea, because I want to see Rosenior do well at Chelsea. I was pleased to see him turn it round. I mean, he obviously made the tactical switches that need to be made. And, yeah, I mean, they look like they're in desperate trouble, West Ham, but to go 2-0 up at Stamford Bridge was a credible effort from them. You can see why they lost it at the end there. I was just glad the fight didn't spill over into the crowd, because it looked like it was going to end up involving people in the crowd at one stage, and I dread to think what might have happened if that had happened. But yeah, they overacted, West Ham players, and chasing the game. It was their corner, wasn't it, as well? You think
they had a chance at the end.
More. Yeah, you think they'd have a bit more savvy and not get involved in what was going on there.
But they were fuming, weren't they? Obviously, that they let the 2 goals slip, and I agree, it's not a good look for West Ham at the moment. But they try, even though it's painful, get some sort of confidence from that they went 2-0 up. They played well. First goal was we were at the Albion, and when it went in, it was a bit of a deflection, wasn't it, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, it's deflected. It was a cross, but went in, basically, yeah.
and then they got the second. So there's definitely positives there, but yeah, they'll be kicking themselves. Back to Rossini quickly. I think I saw somewhere that he's first Chelsea manager to win first 4 Premier League games. Might be wrong, but regardless, won his first 4 Prem games. So really good, and actually proving me wrong as well as a lot of people. And
Yeah,
I can't really say I'm that happy for him because it's Chelsea, but I'm happy for him as a man and a
yeah,
manager.
definitely. Former Albion, obviously, you got to be happy for him, but he's doing it for the wrong club, really, to make us be happy for him because they just nab all our players, really. But yeah, really good game. And I thought Chelsea did really well. It was a really entertaining second half, especially obviously because Chelsea came from behind at half time. So yeah, I mean it will be tough for West Ham now to get out of the drop. Um, they're so far away from it now. Forest picked up a point against Palace. They're just slowly falling away, and it's slowly getting a bit too much for them. So games like that, they'll really be kicking themselves that they haven't got anything away from home in that game. So
They've
we'll have to
just
see.
lost.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, they've just lost Paqueta as well, haven't they? Which is
Yeah, yeah,
one of their biggest players. So it's not gonna do them good. 6 points off Forest now. I think they might
yeah,
be destined for a drop, which is crazy to think where they were a few seasons ago.
yeah. Exactly. It's mental, isn't it, that they've got into a situation from winning the Conference League to being destined for relegation, really, in such a quick amount of time. So we'll have to see if they can turn it around, and you hope they do, because it would look very strange to see them in the Championship, wouldn't it? So have to wait and see. But we'll move on to the game you wanted to talk about, Simon. A really good second half performance from Thomas Frank's Spurs. Brought them back from 2-0 down to make it 2-2 at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, Spurs looked a completely different team in the second half, and City just looked completely shocked by it, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was by design or judgment, by accident, though, because Romero went off at half time, forced Spurs to change into a 4-4-2, matching what City were lined up like. And having that extra man in midfield really helped them get more on the front foot against City. And as you say, they forced City back in that second half. Lots of controversy, though, over that first goal from Solanke, because, as Pep said, if it was a defender doing it to an attacker, it would be a penalty. So,
Mm.
I can't see how it's not a free kick to Gahey there. I really don't, because he kicks through his standing leg to get to the
I
ball.
don't buy it.
No?
No.
No, not at all. I think he's in the action of shooting. Gahey's tried to make a tackle. Sankey's actually clipped the ball and just taken his foot with it. I mean, what can he do? He's shooting.
Well,
I
I just
don't think that's a foul any day.
don't
It's
you?
completely accidental. What's he supposed to do? He's gone for the shot, and he's trying to defend. He's put his leg there. Like I don't get
Yeah,
that. Really.
yeah, I agree with Sterling, to be fair. I think he's in the act of shooting. Like, what's he meant to do? Like, just stop his like swing of shot midway. Like, he can't.
Yeah.
He's already going to hit the ball, and if that's making a foul, then I mean it's just stupid, isn't it? Because then you're saying that he can't even be in the motion of shooting. It's just
Mm.
Yeah, there's fouls that are accidents that
yeah.
get given fouls, and rightly so. But you'd think that that's when, let's say, Solanke outside the box is trying to win the ball off Gahey, and he's accidentally clipped him, or he's somebody's played a pass and follow through, just clipped him
Hmm.
it with a tackle or something like that. But this is one action that's not Solanke doing anything to Gahey. It's Gahey trying to prevent Solanke from shooting. So what's he done wrong? There's no foul play from Solanke. He's just shooting.
Right,
Gahey's the
well,
one that's actually interrupted.
Yeah. Well, that aside, it probably saved Frank's bacon because I think up until
Yeah.
they came back in that second half, he was toast personally because the atmosphere was absolutely dreadful. Gary Neville kept banging on about it, but he didn't really need to because
Yeah,
it cried out on the television how bad it was. And they couldn't even be bothered to boo him off, most of them, at half time. Probably a little bit in acknowledgement of the fact they had 11 players out injured, but even with that, it was pretty limp performance from Spurs in that first half. So, as I said, whether it
yeah,
was by accident or design, he managed to get things turned around, and he's probably bought himself a bit more time there with that result because that's a creditable result with the injury problems they've got. And if they'd lost and West Ham had won, they would have been in serious trouble. So I think they were probably,
yeah.
as pleased as anyone, even though it was Chelsea getting the 3 points, that Chelsea turned it round at Stamford Bridge. So.
Yeah, he was very animated as well, Thomas Frank, at 1-0, 2-0, especially I think it was the second goal. Um, Throwing his bottle on the floor, wasn't he? And
Mm.
that was telling because he's not that type of manager. He's very cool, calm, and collected. But I think he that probably suggests that he knew that the writing was on the wall if they didn't get a result. But credit to them, Spurs. That definitely changed the game, and they got Solanke in the game, didn't they? Which
Yeah.
is he obviously scored both the goals, and that's why they got a result. Getting people up the field. Gallagher assisting the second goal. Unbelievable finish as well. By the way, I was going crazy. Well, not even crazy. I was just in shock with my hands on my head. Dad thought it was a fluke at the time, didn't you? Didn't think he'd
Oh,
meant it.
That's what.
I
Yeah,
did,
my dad did as well.
I did
He
think
thought
it
he
would
thought
either.
he misses it.
Yeah, I did.
It
There's
was-
a great picture on the back page of the Guardian today, which captures the moment. It comes off the bottom of his foot essentially. It's a brilliant photo. And it just shows you that he
Yeah,
meant it, and he definitely got a touch on it. So I thought it was either a
it's a
fluke or it
ridiculous
had come
goal.
off the defender. But yeah, it was a fantastic goal. I just hope for
It
Spurs'
did kind
sake
of look
that
like that.
he's not injured again, Solanke, because he's made of glass, isn't
yeah,
Yeah, they need him to stay fit, don't they? He's obviously a really good player. And actually, when we had Steph come on when you were away, George, that's one thing he did say, and they were speaking about it on comms yesterday. Spurs' injuries are actually horrific. You've got to think Solanke's been out for best part of the season. Madison, Kulusevski, loads more. That I
yeah,
can't. Those are just the main three that spring to mind. Three of their most exciting attacking players.
yeah. I mean, they missed Solanke, I think, because they've not really had your natural nine in a couple of weeks. So, Richarlison's been out injured, and they've missed someone like that. Mateus Tau really isn't a striker. I think he's more of a winger. So yeah, I
Kyle
mean,
Moran as well.
yeah, Kolo Muani's just not really hit the ground running yet, has he? They need someone that's Premier League proven, and he has been proven at Bournemouth a couple of seasons ago, and he didn't have a bad season last year. So it's just injuries with him, as Simon said. He's made of glass, really. He keeps getting injured constantly. So yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable, unbelievable second goal. I mean, I couldn't believe it. When it went in, sort of looped over Donnarumma, didn't it, into the far corner, and it looked like Spurs were going to get another on the grand scheme of things. But I
Yeah,
thought City did well to sort of control possession and sort of die the crowd down because after 5-10 minutes, it looked more like City were going to go win it than Spurs. So yeah, I think it did save Frank's job. You could see that with his emotions when some of the goals were going in.
yeah.
Looked very worried and looking like his job was going to be gone after full time. But Solanke coming up trumps for him really, and a very good second half performance from Spurs, and another hit for the title race for Man City. They just keep dropping points, and it's always them
6
trying to
points.
fight back. 6 points now, yeah, exactly, and a long way to
They've
go, but they just keep dropping points at key moments. And they'll be regretting games like this again come the end of the season if Arsenal go on to win it. So we'll have to see if they do. But we'll move on to the Brighton game. We went to this game, absolute heartbreak at the end. But the main thing we want to talk about is we're all hers are in, and we're seeing Brighton fans in the stadium and on Twitter just basically they're saying, Milner's at fault for the goal because Groves came off. I just don't even know how you can think of that as a thing. Like, how is he meant to do anything? They're saying it's Samaji's fault for the goal. I think it's just poor defensively from Brighton. And I thought we played well in the game. I think it was just a lapse in concentration. And everyone's saying Ursula out, Ursula out. But next week, if we beat Palace, we could go as 8th. So I think there's some very reactionary Brighton fans at the minute. And you've been making your mark on Twitter, haven't you, Sterling? And like as you should. In the stadium, you were absolutely fuming after, weren't you? Came storming up, didn't he, Simon? Why is everyone?
Yeah.
Why is everyone saying Ursula out?
To
But
be
yeah.
Yeah,
fair,
the fact that they were.
I was going to say, to be fair, once Sterling started shouting back at them, they did shut up.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So they don't like being put on the spot because there's no real reason behind it. I think most of the people that are booing and saying that and saying stupid things like it's Milner's fault for being brought on the pitch and with a minute to go that we conceded, they just are looking for a scapegoat. They don't want to actually objectively look at the reasons of why this is a recurring theme for Brighton. Prior to Hurtsler, it's been a problem mentally within the club. I think it's a club thing, a culture thing, taking their eyes off the ball. As I said, that's the players on the pitch taking their eyes off the ball, and as a club, just not really knowing what it takes at this top level to, after 10 years, really grind out a win and actually know that, look, this is the Premier League. You take your eye off the ball for one split second in a 90 plus however minute game, you get punished, and it keeps happening. But people just want an easy scapegoat. And yeah, I've never been more angry actually after a game. I know, as you said there, I was having it out with people at the ground because I'm not one for just targeting a specific person at the club. I'm fine with people booing really at the end of a game in general because of a referee decision or a performance. Like, you're allowed to vent your frustrations, I think. But when it's directed to one person, I don't think it's constructive in any way. I just think it's I just think that's poor. To be at the whole institution and show your dissatisfaction is fine, but just one person, it was clear as soon as Hertz was walking down the tunnel, they were booing him. And it's just not his fault. He made a sub, 90th minute, brought James Milner on 90 plus 6, I think. Everyone's saying, oh, well, that added the time on for them to go score the goal. Regardless of what you think, they were on the attack. The goal, the phase of play would have gone on, I think. Don't you think, Dad? Regardless of that.
Yeah, I mean, you can point your finger at all sorts of different aspects of that, and I think the word you used earlier, but people looking for an easy solution. And there's not an easy solution to it. It's much more complicated than people want to acknowledge. But because they think that the world involves black and white certainty, they think that's the solution, getting rid of him. He's one of the top young coaches in Europe. And as I said on Saturday, you need to be careful what you wish for, because there's the model that Brighton have got is working, but it's only working by a combination of Uncle Tony's analytics and good luck, really. And there's no reason to suggest that the wheels won't come off in the future. And if you start changing your coach just because of things like happened on Saturday, I think that would precipitate a fall. I really do. And then lots of those people won't bother turning up to watch it in the Championship. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I just think it was poor defending from Dunk, and it wasn't the first time that he been responsible for a last-minute goal. I think you said Sterling at the first home game of the season, Fulham, they equalised because he misdirected or missed a header in exactly the same fashion as he did
Yeah,
on Saturday.
exactly.
And you're playing at the pinnacle of club football, and as you say, you can't afford to make a single mistake. But the biggest problem
Yeah.
for me on Saturday was not scoring the second goal, because that would have just been a consolation for Everton if they'd managed to put the ball in the back of the net. And having
Yeah.
watched the highlights, they had the chances in the first half, especially. Welbeck's header could have gone in. Gross had a great chance
Mitoma.
early on as well. So that's where the
Mitoma.
frustration lies. Patoma still can't believe he missed that.
No. And actually, we had that goal at 2-0 get disallowed, which
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Veltman's blocked somebody off for dunk to get it. I'm hearing it's very hard to see on the replay that there's any offside, but apparently that was it. I mean,
Nothing wrong with it.
consistency. There's no consistency. We say it every week. It's just bizarre.
Tarkowski
That would have killed the game.
Tarkowski standing in front of Veltman when the shot comes in for the equaliser as well, which makes it even
Yeah, he
more
But
thought he
what's
was
the
frustrating.
offside,
difference?
didn't he?
Yeah, but what's the difference between that and the one that Brighton had, the Everton's goal? Because Tarkovsky was in the way of Bruggen of
Well, there, exactly.
Bruggen.
That's the point. And he
So
thought he was offside.
it's just
There's no
no.
consistency.
Yeah, we won't rabbit on about it again, even though we
That's
could for an hour and a half, couldn't we, about the
yeah.
officials? But
And we did a
it's,
few weeks ago, really, in detail, didn't we? I wanted
yeah,
to go back to quickly. I think it's very. I don't normally get involved with people on Twitter, but I was really not having some of the shit that was being spouted out, which is why I was telling people and shouting at people in the ground that I don't know why you're booing the manager because it's not his fault they can't defend one last cross into the box. It's not even just Dunk's fault. Cumulatively, the marking, Verbruggen maybe could have kept hold of it, etc. It's a team.
letting the cross come in that easily as well. I think is one of the main
Yeah,
things. He had so much time to whip
it's a
that
team
cross
game.
in.
Of course, there's sometimes it's an individual error
Yeah,
blatantly, but you take it as a team, and this was a whole team thing, right? People were saying that it only happened because they brought James Milner on, and they only brought James Milner on because of him
oh,
getting the
please.
Premier League appearance record. I think it is the most disrespectful and bizarre statement I've ever heard
Mm.
associated to any football club, let alone, in my opinion, non-biased opinion. I think most people would agree in the league, the most well-run football club in the country, maybe even in the world
Mm.
at playing at the pinnacle of elite English football, that they'd just bring somebody on for no other benefit, just for him to get a personal accolade appearance record. It's an absolute joke. It's disrespectful to Brighton as a club. It's disrespectful for Tony Bloom. It's disrespectful for James Milner, who, by
Yeah.
the way, wouldn't be playing for longer than I've been alive if he wasn't an incredible footballer. The sub's been made for a reason. Shore up the game. He's got the experience, bit more energy. It's not because of that, and that has ground my gears to new heights. People need to give their heads a wobble. These are the same people that trust Tony Bloom to the
Mm.
max. Oh, Tony, we trust. But then you think he's going to send somebody onto the pitch just to get a record.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't be bothered to
Completely agree.
engage with that line of thinking. It's just ridiculous. Most stupid thing I've heard. It really is.
Right.
It will all come full circle when Brighton beat Palace next Sunday. We'll come back to it next Monday. I'm putting my neck on the line. We're going to beat Crystal Palace and we're going to be 8th in the league, and everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, it was great, it was great." It's
Yeah.
just so reactionary. I've never actually been so like angry at our fans, and there's other things about Brighton at the moment. The recruitment, Gruder's just gone to Leipzig for some reason,
Oh,
but
Jesus
never been
Christ.
felt so disheartened about it really in my lifetime, other than when Sami Upia was at the Albion and we were maybe going to get relegated from the Championship. But then I was very young, so I wasn't quite, in the same headspace. But I've never been felt this way about it. It's very, very tough, actually.
Yeah, 100%. You put it perfectly, mate. I mean, I don't really have much else to say because you've just put it spot on. Everything you say, I'll just be repeating myself because I completely agree with you. On the Gruder loan move, I think that's a shocking move from Brighton. I don't know what we're doing. Like Gruder's just gone and put on a man of the match performance at Man United away, and then you send him out on loan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And if Minte gets injured, who's going to play out wide?
Yeah,
He's brought
exactly.
Robbo
by,
Did you
out of
see that?
position.
he's brought by
Jorginho out
Rory
of
back from
position.
Marseille.
Yeah,
He's
but he
brought by
isn't a
Rory
winger.
back from
He isn't a
Marseille.
winger.
No,
He
Yeah.
isn't. He isn't.
I don't know.
He's not a
Gruder's not
winger.
an out and
So
out winger, though, is he?
no, but
No, he's
like
not.
he's played on the right hand side though, hasn't he? That's the
Mm.
thing. Like I don't see who plays there now apart from Kadioglu and Solly March if he ever comes back. That's probably never going to happen. Apparently, it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks about 2 months ago. So, yeah,
Yeah.
baffled with it all at the minute. And I think Brighton just need to win on Sunday because that will shut so many people up and it will sort of bring a lot of people back down to earth, like we are at the minute. I'm not even stressed, mate. Like as I've said before, I'll say it again. We're 3 points off of 8th place. Like we're not in a situation like, oh my god, makes me remember something. This bloody fan that waiting for the train after the game. This fan goes, "Oh, we should have to look at relegation now. West Ham are winning." Oh, and at the time we were 9 points above the drop, and I was just like, oh, I turned around to him, and I literally went, "Are you serious, mate?" Because I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe he said it. But yeah, they lost, so it doesn't matter now. He can shut up, and we'll move on with our days, and we'll move on to the championship. Fucking hell, couldn't believe he
It's for
said
the
that.
best,
But
I think. It's just
yeah,
like
literally,
bringing all that rage up.
just going to crash out again, aren't I? But we'll move on to the championship, and I think West Brom fans will be even more fuming with the situation they're going on at the minute with their new manager, Eric Ramsey. I mean, he's been having an absolutely dreadful start to time at the football club. I mean, winless in 4, and his side have conceded 12 goals in 4 games, and he's not won. In those 4 games in charge, only scored 3 goals as well. Run through the game. Connor Chaplin and Melenik Ali with both of the goals, and who both got goals and assists in the game. Sorry, and the third goal was scored by Abu Adams, who they just signed from Derby to make it 3-0 just early in the second half. All goals were shockingly defended from West Brom's point of view. I mean, Chaplin was completely unmarked on the edge of the box for a cutback. It was poor keeping for the second one. And then the third one, the ball got given away on the edge of the box, and it was a little dink over the top, and it was a good finish by Adams. But it was just shocking, to be honest, from a West Brom point of view. And they're somehow in a relegation scrap. They're in 21st. And their squad's so massively underperforming. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got it down on my notes here. Some of the players they've got. They've got Samuel Winnan Jr., who not long ago was playing in the Champions League for Juventus. They've got Jason Malumbi, proven championship player. Josh Madger last season was absolutely brilliant for them. Alfie Gilchrist on loan from Chelsea. Nat Phillips played numerous amounts of times for Liverpool. You know, that's just to name a few. They should be nowhere near where they are at the minute in time. And they've got players like Isaac Price that's having to be held back by his own player to stop himself from having a go at one of the fans and going over to have a go at them. I mean, it looked so toxic at the end from a West Brom point of view. But that's nothing to take away from Portsmouth, who've gone 4 unbeaten now, and that sits the cup game that we watched against Arsenal. So it could have been a
Yeah.
real wake up call to them that they're actually good enough to compete in this league, and I think they are because they were last season. They had a really good first season in the league, and they've gone 2 wins, 2 draws in their last 4. Win against Sheffield Wednesday, draw against Watford, draw against Southampton, and then obviously the win on the weekend against West Brom. So, I mean, do you think it's time to go for the West Brom manager? I mean, it's early days, but it's just looking really worrying. I mean, for both sides it is, but West Brom even more so because they should be nowhere near where they are at the minute with the squad that they have, don't you think?
So I was going to say to you, George, what's going on wrong there? Because I don't know. You know, the only thing from looking at the table and an outside perspective, they're underperforming so much, and really their record's dreadful. -15 goal difference, only 9 wins, 16 losses. You know, it's poor with that squad. They're massively underperforming. Is it a manager thing? That's really only the only thing I can think of. But I don't like to just blame it all on the manager. But you know, with a gap of that size of where they should be, and really underperforming that much, there's only so many things you can think, aren't there, Dad?
Yeah, well, I was surprised they got rid of Ryan Mason, I must admit, because, going back to Tottenham, he's what a lot of Tottenham fans are saying they want Ryan Mason to come in and take over from Frank, even if it's just to the end of the season. I think he's one of those people that's highly regarded as a coach. This guy
Yeah.
Eric Ramsey that he brought in from MLS, I mean, Minnesota United had their best season under him last year, but it's still not got a great win-loss record there of 40-odd%, I think. And he obviously, we had that guy at Celtic that came in from the MLS, and the Celtic players just took an instant dislike to him. You can see how much of a dislike they took to him with the results before and after he left, with Martin O'Neill in charge. So I think it must be something to do with the coach, because, as you say, there's quality all the way through that team. And although we've spoken about how good the championship is, you still would expect West Brom, they're a fairly big club, good support. So obviously, not getting a tune out of them, two different sets of coaching staff. So you've got to start looking at the players, wondering what their motivation is.
Yeah. Just on the caveat to that, though, I was thinking, contrary, not to want to bring it back to Brighton, but, you know, like we said, the players, those fine margins, and it's like it's an individual, not an individual, sorry, it's a team mistake, collectively switching off at the end by the players, and then it's really fine margins. But you see here, they're losing 3-0 away to Pompey, and just a few weeks ago they lost 5-0 at home to Norwich. So at that point, you're thinking, well, it's not even fine margins from the players, like just missing out maybe with a bit of quality. They're getting absolutely demolished. So
It's a
yeah,
collective
as you
thing,
say,
isn't it?
Dad, is it? Yeah, is it? I don't think with that quality from the outside, obviously, that those players are that bad. Like, surely at this point, it must be a coaching perspective. We need some West Brom fans to get in the comments and let us know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll reach out to an old uni friend who's a West Brom fan. He can shed some light on it as well.
Yeah, that's really poor there at the minute, and I can't believe that I'm even saying that they're in a relegation battle at the minute, because it's similar to Norwich really at the start of the season, but Felipe Clement sort of turned the ship there and steered them above relegation, but they sort of swapped places really, haven't they, Norwich and West Brom at this minute in time, and it's mental to see. So credit to Portsmouth, but West Brom not in a good place at the minute in time, are they? So we'll have to see if they can turn it around. But we'll move on to the game you wanted to speak about, Simon. Swansea securing a really big away win against a Watford side, which have changed their manager again, which you might have seen. I mean, Javi Garcia's gone again, but apart from that, really good away win for Swansea in their push to really try battle for them playoff places.
Yeah, the reason I picked it up really was to talk about manager merry-go-round, because we've spoken about how much people at the Albion want Archer to go, and this is the antithesis of that really. Brighton approach of sticking to their manager. and identifying talent early on. You've got Watford, who's just so reactionary. I think he's going to be he was the 11th coach in 11 years, or the guy that's coming in will be the 11th coach in 11 years. It's just absolute madness. And there's no way that that's sustainable. No way at all.
Mhm.
It was a great result for Swansea. They needed it because they're at the wrong end of the table as well. And it really blew a hole in Watford's promotion push, really, because they, you know, Garcia had got them into a really good position just on the edge of the playoffs. But
Yeah.
that defeat really sort of knocked them back a bit, because there's a bit of a gap between them now and Wrexham, who's starting to string some results together.
Yeah, 4
Swansea,
points.
Swansea have turned it around a little bit in the last 3 or 4 games, so they're inching their way away from trouble. But as I say,
I can't really work this. Sorry, go on.
the reason I picked it out really was just compare and contrast Watford's approach to Brighton, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a very good point. That is the trouble, isn't it? If you don't stick to your guns and you're not solid in your choices, and then you just kind of never really get any run of form or familiarity within the club, and nothing really ever seems to go the way you want. But can't really work it out, actually, is what I wanted to say. Why Javi Garcia's gone. You alluded to it there, Dad, that he's actually had them pushing up the league. You know, when we were speaking earlier on in the season, Watford were lower than they should have been in the Championship, and he came in and they had some good results and they started pushing up there, and all of a sudden he's gone. I
Yeah.
can't understand it. I mean, their league form and their last 5 games, they're without a win. It's not been good by any means, but before that, they were doing really well, weren't they, George? So I can't work it out, mate.
Yeah, really confusing one. Another manager's going to be coming through the door for Watford. They must just think who's going to come in next every 6 months, because they've had so many different managers. It's crazy. I mean, credit to Swansea, good win. Vita Matos, who they got in about October, November time, I think. It's been decent so far. I started to pick up a few wins. They got in Joel Ward as well in January.
Yeah,
Started the game at fullback, and they got Malik Yakuye coming off the bench as well. And, you've got some decent players in there, to be fair. So Swansea are looking like a decent side. I mean, playoffs might be a push considering how low down they are, but still about 7 or 8 points off the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's confusing at Watford, isn't it? I mean, how many managers they've had in the past couple of years is mind-boggling, isn't it? That they've not stuck with one for like more than 2 seasons. It's just crazy. But
yeah.
we'll see who comes through the door next, and see if he can
And
stay for longer than 6 months. Basically, that's the real thing about it.
yeah, just wanted to say as well to Dad's point about, if a manager goes, you get nobody that actually knows the club when you're chopping and changing like that. And I thought them bringing Garcia in was all right, somebody that knows the club, can
Yeah,
actually buy into what the fans are doing. He understands it. Kind of quick turnaround in that sense, where he can just hit the ground running. Knows what success looks like at the club. Knows just everything about the club, because that goes a long way when you've got somebody who's familiar and just knows the ideologies and the identity of the club and where the club wants to be.
yeah,
That's massive. And I just can't work that out from Watford. The fans must hate it.
I think that might be part
yeah,
of the problem. I think because Garcia knows the club, I think reading between the lines, as I said, on the edge of the playoffs, he's obviously gone to the board and said, I need a bit more here to get us into the playoffs. And they said, there's no way we're going to be able to do that or prepared to do that. And he's just, right, that's it then, that's no point, I'm going. And I think that's maybe part of the issue.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be interesting to see if anything comes out about it, because it just happened very quickly. Nothing about it because of how Watford had been doing really well since he came in, and all of a sudden he just resigned. It was out of nowhere, really. So we'll have to see if they get in and see if they can maintain their push for the playoff places. But a good win for Swansea in the end. But you wanted to speak about sort of remontada, you could call it, for QPR. We were taking the piss out of them, really, at the start of the season because they lost 7-1. And then they go and beat them 2-1 at their own gaff. I mean, I would absolutely love that. That feels like the Nottingham Forest Brighton game for me this season, the 7-0 and then beating them 2-0. I feel that I know how you feel, QPR fans, but you take it away, Sterling.
Yeah, I wrote here revenge for the Isles because that was what was advertised by the QPR admin on Instagram. They were going for revenge. Obviously, got battered 7-1 away. And as much as I love Coventry, well, not love, it's a bit far, but I love Carl Rushworth in goal, and I've got a soft spot for Coventry. I must admit, I'd like to see them get promoted. But no, I loved seeing this result for QPR. Also loved seeing Harvey Vale, Uckfield's finest, at the heart of it. Actually, yeah, I'll get into him a bit more, but huge confidence boost for QPR in the running in the second half of the season. I will speak mainly about QPR because it's a great result for them. But on the flip side, 8-point lead at the top. Coventry, they've dropped within a month, and now they're level on points with Middlesbrough, still in first, Middlesbrough second, level on points with them. Just crazy. They went 1-0 up. It was actually quite a good goal they scored, but the R's come back into it. All goals in the game coming in the second half. Richard Kone, again, star striker. You'd have loved the goal, actually, Dad. Front post run, gets in front of his man, meets the ball, flicks it, little back heel into the far left hand corner. It's a beautiful goal. And then Nicholas Madsen with the winner, set up brilliantly by Harvey Vale. It wasn't a direct assist, but he made a nice run, put a good low driven cross across the box, which keeper Rushworth maybe could have done a little bit better, parried it, and then Madsen smashed it in. Golden assist for him, man of the match on FootMob, and looks like QPR have got their players coming into form when they need it. And as I said, Harvey Vale pulling strings. He's just come back from injury, so they've got quality player there coming back from injury at the right time because he scored last week against Wrexham. They did lose that game, unfortunately, but it was an unbelievable finish. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah,
Really good finish, wasn't it?
yeah, top draw, unbelievable.
Yeah. And he's just pulling strings for him in that number 10 position, and that's what they need going into this running. They're only 4 points off the playoffs. They're in 11th place, and they're going to need these players firing and fit and firing if they want to get into the playoffs. And I think they might be an outside shout. I think it might be one season too early for them, actually. But I think if they can keep that core of the squad, they look like they've got good chance for next season. We'll be doing our predictions in August time or whenever it is, and they'll be on my radar, that's for sure. But yeah, I loved this result for QPR. It looked like absolute scenes.
Yeah, brilliant result for them. They've got such a good young squad there at QPR that bringing up such quality talent in, Richard Kone as an example, and Harvey Vale is still really young himself. But yeah, massive result for them in their push for the playoffs. They continue to, pick up crucial 3 points like they did on the weekend, and Coventry keep seeming to drop in points. I mean, it wasn't long ago they were 10 points clear, and now they're level on points with Middlesbrough, aren't they? So it's happening
All
such
in
a
a
quick
month.
amount. All in a month, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's happened in such a quick amount of time that they've dropped so many points in such a short amount of time, really. I mean, really, really surprising result because of the basis of how the first game went. But I think the QPR players would have just had that fight in them that they sort of just got to taking the piss out of in the first game. They want to put it right in front of their own fans in the second game. And they certainly did that, didn't they, Simon?
Yeah, no, it's a good result. I thought the manager really motivated them well to avenge that result at their home ground. You've got to worry about Coventry, really, because their form is starting to dip a little bit, and it's a long slog, this championship.
Yeah.
Something needs to sort of regroup, I think, and try and get them refocused on the task at hand, which is keeping themselves in those top two places. Because as we said before, we don't want to get into the lottery of the playoffs, and that's the danger they're looking at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, performances as well, because QPR were good value for that win. They should have had a penalty in the first half as well. Stonewall. It looked Stonewall watching the highlights, and then they showed a replay close up of it, and it's just knee to knee. Bloke chops inside, and he's hit him knee to knee. They were good, really good value for the win. Coventry.
Yeah.
It's not like they just nicked it. Sorry, QPR really good value for the win.
Yeah.
Against Coventry. It's not like they nicked it. No, Coventry got absolutely battered in the game.
Deserved winners in the end. QPR. It looked like from the highlights I did watch them myself, and QPR look far the better side. So hopefully they can keep that up. But we'll have to keep a close eye on if Coventry keep up this inconsistent form, because they've really dropped off in the recent weeks. So I have to keep an eye out on that. Right, we'll move on to League One football. I wanted to start off by speaking about a 5-goal throw, which eventually ended in a 3-2 win for Huddersfield away from home, who have been really good under former Norwich manager Liam Manning since he came in. He's got 3 wins from 3 since he was appointed as manager. But on the terms of the game, really good finish from right wing back Sorensen after Ledson from midfield won the ball back in the middle of the park, and Sorensen scored from it. And then the second goal was a set piece goal. Rodino Bolka, centre half, to get the flick on from a Marcus Harness cross, who got the assist for the second and third goal. Peterborough levelled it up. They were 2-0 down, made it 2-2. In the 85th minute, they made it 2-2. So really would hurt that they've gone and conceded in the last minute, really. Lisby and Dornley with both the goals for Peterborough. But then poor defending from Peterborough. I think it was just a lapse in judgment from one of the centre halves. Allowed Harness to get the ball, cut the ball back inside, and it was a really good finish by Cameron Humphreys off the bench to curl it in and snatch 3 points, really. I mean, heartbreaking result for Peterborough, but they're starting to get into the inconsistency they had at the start of the season. 2 wins out of their last 6, 2 wins, 4 losses, but Huddersfield back into the playoff places in 6th, so looking good for them since, they replaced Lee Grant with Liam Manning. So do you think that Huddersfield are going to be in a shout with the playoffs this season, considering, the run of form that they're on at the minute in time?
Yeah, they've been there or thereabouts all season, haven't they? They saying since Lee Manning came in, they've been doing significantly better. Just looking at their form, 4 wins out of their last 5. So yeah, he's definitely doing well there, Liam Manning. But they have been there or thereabouts all season. I know they dropped off because at the start they had a really good start, if I'm remembering correctly. They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you're right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I definitely think they're going to be. I don't think automatics, no, but I think playoffs. I don't know. What do you think, Dad?
Yeah, 3 wins on the bounce. They've got the momentum behind them, haven't they? And they're starting to make a little bit of a gap between themselves and Luton and 7th. So it is,
Yeah.
as I said before, the games do come thick and fast at this level, and especially once you drop down to League One and League Two, because you've got so many more games to play. So yeah, a long way to go yet, but I think we said at the beginning of the season, they're one of those massive clubs in this division that really shouldn't be down at that level. They could easily be a championship team, which they were for a long time. So yeah, the Sis can keep that momentum up. They should keep themselves in that playoff bracket.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about Cardiff actually because that was the game I wanted to talk about at the top of the table. Their lead is now shrunk to just 2 points with Lincoln behind them, on the same amount of points. Only a few weeks ago we were saying that they were home and away, so significant at the top of the table. Huddersfield really aren't that far actually away from Cardiff, even though I do think Cardiff still will end up being champions at the end of the season. But yeah, it was 2-2 to Burton. Shout out for the first goal for Jake Beasley. It was a nice little scissor bicey kick. Everyone should go watch that if they haven't already. But it was significant at the bottom of the table because Burton, the point puts them level with Rotherham, who are just above them in the league. So yeah, this game I picked it out because not only affecting the top of the league, it's actually affecting the bottom of the league, and it shows that Burton have got what it takes to actually, compete in this league. And based on what I saw on the highlights and the stats as well,
Mm.
that they'll probably end up staying up because they had a better XG of 0.79 to the Bluebirds Cardiff 0.56 as well. So they were good value for it. They were good value for the win. It's not like they just nicked it. Showed good spirit because Cardiff actually went 2-1 up. Alex Robertson with a nice brace, two good finishes. But yeah, really, really positive for Burton, and I was impressed. And then I was looking at their next few games. They've got Doncaster, who I just mentioned, 1 point above them. No, sorry, Rotherham, 1 point above them, who I just mentioned. They got Doncaster and they got Port Vale. Doncaster are 1 point below them and one position below them, and Port Vale were rock bottom. So, three massive games there for Burton coming up, and I think this result will really spur them on. But I don't know what you guys think.
It's a real run in at the minute, isn't it, for teams near the bottom and near the top, and both teams are really in the mix of it in different sorts of ways. Obviously, Burton near the bottom of it all, as you said, level on points of Rotherham, and Cardiff dropping points sort of closes the gap between them and second place. So yeah, I mean, Alex Robertson, another really good performance. He's been class for them this season in that Cardiff midfield, and I thought that Burton, they aren't the bad side. I remember speaking about them earlier on in the season about some of the players that they have and some of the quality. It's not surprised to see them going toe to toe with teams like Cardiff. So yeah, I mean, it'll be tight near come the end of the season, but I do think they will win it. But Simon, you wanted to speak about another team that could go on and win the League One title this season, but thank God that they got 3 points this weekend against Doncaster because they were just on the back of 3 losses in a row. So, what do you think of the game?
Well, no, but, go and check the highlights out of the game, really, if only to see what ghastly kit Doncaster had on it. It was a green, pink and lime green effort. It's just, if anybody follows baseball, it was like the San Diego Padres City Connect uniforms, absolutely ghastly. I'm surprised anybody could pinpoint what was going on. It's dreadful. But yeah, as you say, Bradford got back onto winning ways. Yorkshire Derby, 20,000 people there, looked like a great atmosphere. The goalkeepers, I have to say, having watched the highlights, both goalkeepers made absolutely brilliant saves, flying up into the top corner to tip balls away and parry shots onto the crossbar, things like that. But in the end, Bradford just probably had just too much for Doncaster on the day, and Tyreek Wright scored a peach of a volley from the left-hand side of the box as the ball came over from the right. It's a great goal to win it.
Yeah, nice. I think Bradford, they'll be my pick to come second, actually, because I know they've fallen off now in fifth. But saying that, just looking at the table, it's quite a way. They were my pick for second, but now they're actually 9 points off. But
Yeah, yeah.
they have been there pretty much right on Cardiff's tail more than anyone else throughout the season. But it's just they've been their recent form, hasn't it?
I was going to say their form, but also just how well Lincoln have been playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true, innit? I spoke about them last week, didn't I, Simon? Lincoln have been really good recently. But yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Doncaster had such a good start to the season, if you remember, and now fall into the relegation zone. It's been really contrast of events in the first and second half of their season so far. But yeah, really big result for Bradford because they were in that run of form where they just kept losing and losing, which is not where you want to be, obviously, when you're up and near the playoff places. So, yeah, I mean, massive result for them. You know, they've got some good players in there, Bradford, so it doesn't surprise me to see that they're in the position that they're in. But Doncaster needs to improve and sort of find where they were at the start of the season and use that to get out of the relegation zone because they only came up just last season, so they don't want to go straight back down, do they? So we'll have to wait and see if they do get out of the relegation spaces. But we'll move on to League Two football. I wanted to speak about another win for Cambridge away at Oldham. I mean, it's been incredible rise in form for Cambridge. You've just gone from step by step to climbing up this League Two table. I mean, now into second place, just 6 points off of Bromley with a game in hand as well, which is just mental that they've got into the position that they're in. I mean, on the basis of the game, all goals came in the second half. Two very poorly defended goals from Oldham point of view, even though it's 3-0, two of them were really poor. Sloppy defending to give away the first goal, which is a penalty slotted away. Third goal came from their set piece, Oldham, whipped in, and it got cleared by a Cambridge defender, and then Nathan Mpanzu picked it up and literally one ball over the top. Cambridge was 2-on-1 with the Oldham back line. It was just like, how can that happen so easily? Very strange for me. Louis Appiah added to his tally of the game after a cutback from Ben Knight. But the second goal, which is why I said two of the goals were very sloppy defending, but the second goal from Cambridge was really good. Ball in off the right from Ben Knight, who got a goal and assist in the game. Cut back by left wing back James Brophy, and then just a tap in really for Louis Appiah. He got a brace in the game, but cracking run of form for Cambridge, as I said, unbeaten in 14 league games, 9 wins, 5 draws, 32 points in 14. Neil Harris showing his experience in management to sort of bring the club to where they're at now, but it's looked like a shocking performance from Oldham, who are sort of in the middle of, 14 points away from the playoffs and 15 away from relegation. So just looking like they're going to be comfortably in mid-table after being promoted from the National League. So, I mean, we'll speak about Cambridge. I mean, how good has it been for them at the minute? It's been such an incredible rise up the League Two table, hasn't it, for them?
Yeah, they've come sort of out of nowhere, actually,
Yeah.
based on who we were looking at in previous weeks. Walsall now sitting in 7th, Swindon 6th, Notts County 5th, MK Dons 4th, so they've come out of the shadows, really. And as you say, it's that run of form that they're on. 9 wins, 5 draws, 32 points out of a possible 42. That's what's done it for them. And if they're going to get an automatic position, which it's looking like they're going to, then that'll be the reason for it. All that momentum that you need in a title or a promotion winning season, they've got. And then you look at a team like Walsall, who were top by fair margin at one point. They've got 1 win in 5, so goes to show just how much you need a run of form really in this league where it's so competitive, and just how beneficial it can be.
Yeah, we gave them a shout out last week, Chambers, because I think most of the pre-season predictions have them struggling to stay in the Football League. They've got a shoestring budget there, but as you said, George, I think Neil Harris has really got that experience, and he's obviously got the squad working for him. Great run of form.
Yeah.
It's whether they can maintain it, really. That's the thing that I'd be worried about them pushing on to stay in the playoff positions. Is it maintainable by them? But they're there and
Yeah.
thereabouts. There's some clubs that will be making life as difficult as possible for them. So we just have to see on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want it to be a Walsall. I think we said that last episode as well, didn't we, Simon? Because
Mm.
they're in a similar position at the minute, so we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they keep up that run of form, because it'll be brilliant to see them sort of prove us all wrong from our predictions. Because I think maybe two of us, one of us, had them in a relegation spot, which is just mental to see and proves how well they're doing so far this season. But Simon, you wanted to speak about Grimsby. Unbelievable second half to come back and get a draw at MK Dons. What did you think of it?
Yeah, proverbial game of two halves really. Grimsby 2-0 down at half time, looked like they were sunk, but came back and turned things around. Um, George McEachran scored, and then Reece Staunton from a corner a few minutes later to really turn things around. And Grimsby maintaining that run of form that's keeping them just on the edge of the playoffs. Really, they need to turn the draws into wins. But before that, they were 5 wins in the bounce. So it just goes to show you how if you can maintain that consistency, you're going to get yourself up to the top reach of the table. MK Dons, they just are losing ground now because of that draw to Salford and Cambridge. But it's very tight, those top 7 positions in League Two. There's not a lot between them at all, apart from Bromley, who are out in front.
Yeah, it's really not a bad result actually for either team. I think MK Dons will be the more frustrated out of the two, being 2-0 up. But
Yeah,
as you say, that a game of two halves, and really a Grimsby win would have been massive for them. Looking at the table, as you say, so tight, missed opportunity perhaps.
yeah, exactly. A missed opportunity for them, because they're in the fight really to get into them playoff positions. I mean, they've been on a cracking run of form recently, Grimsby, and they've been doing really well. But it just shows MK Dons have got a lot of quality, and they're a really tough team to beat in this league. Good to see Cabia getting a brace as well. I keep raving on about him, don't I? But I do really rate him because he's come from the National League South. So to see him bagging in the goals in League Two just shows that at that level, in just one season, you can be scoring goals for fun in League Two football. So just shows the amount of quality that he has. But Patterson on the score sheet again. It spoke about him last week when he got his hat trick, just showing how much experience he's got and how good of an asset he really is for NK Dons. But both sides pushing for promotion places, so a point apiece, probably not ideal for either side. Probably more ideal for NK Dons considering where they are in the table, but just
Yeah.
Grimsby want as many points really as possible. So we'll have to wait and see how they both get on in the recent weeks. But you wanted to speak about a 3-0 win for Bristol Rovers. Incredible performance against a really struggling Newport side, but you went a bit more into detail into it, so go ahead.
Yeah, they extended the gap from Newport. They're both down the bottom, so I knew I was going to speak about this game before it happened, and I was keeping a close eye on it on Saturday whilst we were at the Albion. The gap between them was only 1 point before kick-off, but Bristol Rovers just wiped the floor of them, extended the gap at the bottom to 4 points. And really, it was just a bit more quality there for Bristol Rovers that done it. And actually, it was Spurs loanee, Yusuf Akmarich, butchered it, add it to the list. Akamrich, anyway, Spurs loanee. Another club that's been really good in the loanee market for these League Two, League One sides, and he was the one that made the difference. He scored 2 goals, one of which was an absolute worldie. Again, got to
Yeah.
go check it out. If you haven't seen it, 25, 30 yards out on his left foot, smashed it into the top bins, and then the second one, ball over the top, lovely touch and finish, and it was really those 2 goals that did it. The third came late on in the game, but it was just that added quality from as I said, the Spurs loanee, what somebody who's in one of the best academies in the country. That's won it for Bristol Rovers, and it's quite a surprise that more clubs in this league aren't doing similar business in the loan market, because he was the difference really by the looks of it. But Newport is actually really disappointing for them. It kind of seems like the writing's on the wall. They didn't have many opportunities from what the highlights showed, and they actually had 59% of possession in the game and lost 3-0. So that perhaps shows where they are, because that's not a good stat, is it, Dad? 59% possession, but you're losing 3-0, not doing anything with it.
No, I think the writing might be on the wall for Christian Fuchs, really, because that was a pivotal game. He did well to pick that out.
Yeah.
A bit of a derby as well, because Newport and Bristol are not that far apart. There was over 8,000 people there. But that's 7 goals in 2 games they conceded, and it was such a pivotal game because going into it, they were a point and a place behind Bristol Rovers, and you really need to get something out of it, even if it was a draw, to sort of stay on Bristol Rovers' coattails. But they're starting to sort of cast themselves adrift. Not as bad as Harrogate, perhaps, but they've got problems there for sure. And I just wonder whether the board might be looking to make a change there to see if they can galvanise some sort of turnaround in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's been underwhelming really for Christian Fuchs at Newport. I mean, you sort of stole this game off of me, Sterling, because of how good this Bristol Rovers performance was. This Spurs, I'm not even going to try attempt it because I know I'll just add myself onto the butchers list for the end of the season. But his performance was
Camrich, I
incredible.
think it is. A
Was he
Camrich.
Camrich?
I don't know
Yusuf
why I butchered
Camrich.
it first time. It's because I
Yusuf
was looking at it, I
Camrich.
was trying to read it quickly, what I've written down, and then it threw me off. But yeah,
Yeah,
Yusuf Camrich. There we go.
yeah. We'll go with
Moroccan,
that.
20 years
We'll go.
old.
Yeah, but he was incredible, wasn't he? What performance, and he sort of took the headline to the game of how good he was in the game. But yeah, Steve Evans doing what he does best as the Bristol Rovers manager, getting them out of a tricky situation and stirring them away from the relegation zone. So we'll have to see if they can keep that momentum up. But Newport, something needs to change there if they want to stay up this time, because at the minute in time it's not looking very likely. But we'll move on to the National League. One game to speak about this week was a real upset at the top of the table. Boston United beating Boreham Wood at home. Just in terms of the league standings, that is. I mean, such a big gap in the table
Crazy.
between both of the sides. Boreham Wood went 1-0 up at half time. Abdul Malik, great strike about 35 yards out, bobbling over the keeper into the back of the net. But 51 minutes in, game changed completely. Ellis Army, might have butchered it, the fullback for Boreham Wood, just pulls down Kenneth Aboff, who just gave away the ball, then pulled him down. He was going for a goal, pulls his shirt, straight red, simple for the referee, and then slotted away by John Lewis to level the game up at 1-1. He's got 10 goals, 1 assist in the National League now, and is the club's top goal scorer, so I was impressed by him. But then Boreham Wood got another red card. Regan Botti clearly said something to the official, because all of a sudden the referee just twitches and goes, blows his whistle, boom, see you later. After, there was a controversial decision before that, clearly he weren't happy, and then just sent him straight off. Stupid, really, from him to put his team down to 9 men. And then to win the game, Richards' shot was saved by the Boreham Wood keeper Ted Curd, and then it was tucked in on the rebound by Mwali Mayalufa. Absolutely butchered that, 100%, but we'll go with it. But
Gonna
as
have to
it
do a
just,
compilation at the end of the
oh,
season for these.
yeah, 100%, 100%, we're going to have to. But yeah, it secured the 3 points for Boston, massive 3 points for them, because they went 2 points clear of safety in 17th place, and their first league win in 7 games, all comps had and won in 6. 6 losses, 3 draws, so huge for them. But Boreham Wood, inconsistent recently, and it's put them down into 4th place after being top of the league just a couple of weeks ago. 9 points off of top now. started to become inconsistent. As I said, 2 wins and 4 losses in their last 6. Just 1 win in their last 4 league games as well. So, it started off well, but do you think they have a chance in winning this league title now after an inconsistent run of form?
I don't think they've got
No.
at all. And I think now we're getting to the business end of the season, they really must be struggling in terms of their squad depth, I would imagine, against some of these, football league sides that are up there. And as we said before, they're only getting crowds of just over 1,000 people, which is not far off the sort of crowds we see when we go and watch teams like Burgess Hill down in the Isthmian Premier League. So I don't know how they're doing it really. Kudos to them for making such a great effort, but this three losses on the bounce, and it can't help at any level of football having 2 players sent off. But Boston United desperately needed that result because the bottom 3 look like they are cast adrift through Morecambe and Gateshead, but then you could literally throw a blanket over the next 7 or 8 teams because from Brackley down to the Braintree and 21st, there's 4 points. So you got to have the momentum. So it'd be interesting to see if Boston can take that into their next game.
Yeah, I echo what Dad said, really. I don't think Bournemouth are going to be there for automatic promotion. I think they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're a good playoff side. You saw that last season, so it'll be entertaining. And I think that's probably fair. I don't think they're the best team in this league. I think, without sounding critical, because they've been amazing, they were probably overachieving and overperforming when they were first. And teams like York, who are now in top, and Carlisle and Rochdale have, started to find form. Looking at their form in their last 6 games, York, they're unbeaten, 3 wins on the trot. Rochdale 4 wins on the trot, and they play Bournemouth next. So, yeah, sums it up, and Dad hit the nail on the head, really.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you both. I think Boston will stay up, just about, but I think it'll be really competitive. Lots of teams below, and which just shows how compact it is at the bottom. But Bournemouth, completely agree. Just think they've lost it now. Would have been incredible if they got a automatic spot in the first place, but they just got to make sure they're going to remain in the playoff places at the minute in time because they don't want to drop out of them after the start they had. It would be a real
And
shame to see them drop out of them so quickly. But
that's a
we'll
feat
move.
as well in itself. Sorry,
Yeah,
George, before you move on. That's a feat in itself.
yeah, 100%. Because we say it a lot. They were last playoff spot in the National League South last season, and now they're in the playoff spots in the National League, which just shows how far they've come as a club in such a short amount of time. But we'll move on to the National League South. A game near the top of the table, which was absolutely huge for Hornchurch and Torquay. Torquay got on the end of a really crucial win at Hornchurch to put them top of the National League South table. Came from 1-0 down to beat, at the time, the league leaders to go top, as I said. But in terms of the game, I put it on the group chat because I watched the highlights and the goals were unbelievable. Angelo Balanta, unbelievable goal for Hornchurch's only goal of the game. Gets it on the right hand side, cuts inside, hits it top bins from a tight angle, roof of the net, making it 1-0. Showing his quality at 36 years of age, 13 National League South goals for him, and is the club's top goal scorer. So I was massively impressed by him. Equaliser was a mistake at the back from Hornchurch, and it was punished by Jordan Young, who scored the winner as well. Unbelievable goal from him, similar to the Balanta goal, same side of the pitch as well as the one he scored. Cuts inside, wraps it into the far corner to win it, and he really impressed me. And you said he impressed you as well, Sterling, from watching the highlights. Got man of the match and 15 National League South goals this season now, and is also Torquay's club's top goal scorer as well. But Torquay top on goal difference, just above Dorking on the same amount of points, but as I said, a little bit more goal difference. Hornchurch one behind, but do have that game in hand, which will be absolutely crucial for them. But Hornchurch, too inconsistent recently. 2 wins, 3 losses in their last 3 in FA Trophy. In 2 wins, 3 losses in the last 5, sorry, in FA Trophy and league action. But Torquay on a really good run of form, 6 unbeaten, 4 wins, 2 draws. Crucial performance for them. So, how big of a win do you think that is for them, considering how compact it is at the top of the table, and they're beating the side that's right next to them?
Yeah, massive win for Torquay. I actually, just as you were speaking, pulled up our predictions, and I thought this was the case. I had them winning the league, which is where they sit at the moment, top of the league. So I'm not surprised massively, but they have worked their way up because it wasn't looking so great at one point. As you say, really good quality in this game from both sides. Yeah, Balanta, really good finish, but that Young was really impressed with him. Aside from the goals, the second one was ridiculous, cutting his left finesse. It was unbelievable, that goal. But even there was a highlight, wasn't there, of him on the touchline next to the
Yeah.
dugout. Very odd ground actually, Hornchurch, from the highlights. I've not seen it. It's like a running
So a
track,
running
isn't it?
track. Yeah, so a running track.
Yeah, and only about 4,000 capacity, so it's an interesting one. But it's right on the touchline, little shimmy, dropped the shoulder and left the defender in the dust. Jinky
Yeah.
McJink, they'd say. Yeah, it was really good, and yeah, impressed. And I think Dad will probably echo this with Hornchurch. It's kind of similar to Boreham Wood, isn't it? That they're a little bit overachieving with how they were at the start of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, and really, I sort of did a double take when I was looking at this because it's difficult to picture Torquay United down at this level of football because for a long time they were a football league club and then they lost that in the early 2000s. They lost that status and bounced between non-league and the football league. From memory, I think they sort of went bust, didn't they, a couple of years ago and were taken over by a
Yeah.
consortium. Interesting, I know Neil Warnock's an advisor to Paul Wootton, the manager there, and there was a piece in The Guardian in the week about how Pat Guardiola's had Neil Warnock in at the City training ground just talking to the players about long ball football. And I don't think they
Yeah,
took him 100% seriously because one of the stories was that he was telling them that they need to ping these 60-yard diagonal balls into Haaland, and apparently the players all looked at each other and started laughing. But
Oh, that's
Pep was
brilliant.
that
Pep,
is hilarious.
Pep was deadly serious about it. I think he thinks a lot of Warnock, and he obviously knows his football history because when the opportunity arose, he was straight on the blower to Warnock saying, come in and talk to my players. So Torquay United share an advisor in Man City, so they should be at the top of the table, I guess.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mental. That is crazy. I mean, no, I was going to say, you got that sort of contacts with you, and you're hearing that Neil Warnock's on the buzzer to Pep Guardiola. You're hoping you're getting some advice off of your mate that you've been speaking to such a coach like him. Take advice off of him into the National League South. They'll be absolutely buzzing with that.
I'd love
If
to
it,
see
it,
Pep Guardiola in the National League South.
oh, could you imagine that? That would be
Put him
football
in charge
heritage.
of
That would.
put him in charge of Worthing, see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
Yeah,
down
well,
there and watch him.
that'd be
They'd storm
quality,
the
wouldn't
league.
it?
They really would. They'd storm the league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The players
I'm
would
sure
run
they
through the
would.
wall for him.
yeah,
I actually
unbelievable,
wanted to
wouldn't it?
speak about the Worthing game for ever so briefly, because it was another top of the table clash,
Yeah,
and Worthing without a win in 5 now. Really, really poor run of form for Worthing, and they would have thought they had won it against Western Supermare. Actually, they
yeah,
scored very late on, 85th minute, I think it was. Yeah, 83rd have just pulled up, and then Britain equalised in the last minute, 90 plus 1. for Western-super-Mare, and that seems to be quite a reoccurring factor this season and in other seasons as well. Worthing conceding very late on. Maybe it's a Sussex thing. I don't know, but yeah, they seem to just do a Brighton and bottle it, don't they? Very late on, and that's what happened here. As I said, without a winning 5, and now they're 2 points off Torquay in first, who have got a game in hand on Worthing.
Yeah.
Hornchurch have 2 games in hand on Worthing, and Dorking above them have 1 game in hand on Worthing as well. So they've really found a way to fuck this up, in for want of a better way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another drop points for Worthing. I couldn't believe it. It sort of added on to my frustration when I saw that after the Brighton game that they'd conceded in the last minute. Just sort of put the icing on the cake, really. But yeah, winless in 5, as I said. I mean, it's starting to become a reoccurring theme every season. I saw the goal. Louis Britton scored in the cup game against Grimsby, showing his quality.
I thought so.
Top goal. Yeah, top goal scorer for them this season. I think it was a save from the Worthing keeper, and he just tapped it in. To equalise would have been a really good point for Western-super-Mare. They would have happily taken that back to their place, because it's considering how good of a home form that Worthing have. But yeah, it just makes the gap even bigger now for Worthing, considering Torquay won as well. Dorking beat Chesham, I think. Might be wrong. Maybe Salisbury, actually. But either one of the two. But yeah, the gap just extended, really, for Worthing. Western-super-Mare would have been as much of a hit because I haven't been on the run of form which Worthing have been, which is a terrible run of form.
Yeah.
Western-super-Mare are on a decent run of form, so just keeps extending and extending. And as we always say, if you're inconsistent, which Worthing are now, the gap's going to grow even bigger every single game week. All right, we'll move on to the Isthmian Premier Division, the last game. We've got one game to talk about here. Hashtag United versus Burgess Hill. I mean, it's another worrying game and another worrying result, but another really good result for Burgess Hill. But hashtag starting to sneak into that bottom 4 again as they lose 6-2 at home to Burgess Hill. 3 braces in the game for the Hillians. Carl Bennett, the former Lewis midfielder, attacking mid, you could call it, brace in the first half. Captain Kieran Rowe got the second brace of the match, and then Glenn Rayer, former Worthing and Sussex boy, he's been everywhere in Sussex, Glenn Rayer, he got his brace in the game. Last goal in the match in the 76th minute. But about the game, midfielder Harry Lawson, who you were both impressed with in the midfield next to Kieran Rowe, the young lad, made his 100th appearance for Burgess Hill on the weekend. And he's same age as me, I'm pretty sure. Just shows how incredible he's been at such a young age, which is really good to see. But Hill, 3 unbeaten now, 1-1 against Folkestone, a 2-1 win against Dartford, and then obviously this game against Hashtag, and have moved just 4 points away from the playoff places in 8th. But Hashtag still not found that consistency that they've been needing all season, really. Still yet to find it. Just 1 league win in their last 6 games. 1 win, 2 draws, 3 losses. And they're just 2 points above the relegation zone, above Cray Valley Paper Mill, Simon.
Hey.
And Hashtag have played a lot more games than teams, so Cray Valley Paper Mills might get themselves out of the relegation zone. But yeah, I
Yeah, way
mean,
up to the title.
get out to the title. It might not even be mathematically possible anymore. Fucking
I
hell.
think it is, mate.
But 2 questions, really, 2 half questions. You can short sentences, you can call it. First one: Burgess Hill in the playoffs, yes or no? Hashtag, do they stay up, yes or no? Go.
God,
Yes,
Dad, you
no.
take the floor.
Yes, no.
Fucking hell, you meant to explain it.
I think
I'll
if
go.
they're going to be a playoff team, that's the result that you'd be looking at because they did really well to draw at Folkestone, beat Dartford. Both those teams are on the top of the table. And then you've got to just show that you've got that consistency by taking a team like hashtag pieces really, but beating them by 6-2 away from home is a great result. And you're right, that Harry Lawson looks really impressive. And to get a player of Calm Bennett's quality there, that he's definitely.
Yeah.
I thought when he was playing at Lewis, he was maybe a level below what he could play at. So he's only stepped sideways admittedly to Burgess Hill, but they definitely think he can play at a higher level. So they do look like they've got some good quality players there. I think we'll have to get back out there and see him again before in the near future. But
100%.
hashtag, I mean, hashtag I've never really been convinced by them. We saw them at Lewis; they were pretty poor. They've got no consistency whatsoever, have they? I know they get all the money from YouTube or wherever it is, but they barely get one man and a dog turn up to see him, so it can't be that motivating to be playing for them.
Literally. It's true though. They literally get less than 200 people every week. I think they've got the lowest average attendance in the league,
which is crazy. But yeah, it's an unreal signing, Colin Bennett going. We know from first hand watching him and hearing Steph talking about how good he is, just the quality. So yeah, definitely want to go out to watch them regardless, but that's even more reason to go out to watch them. But I want to say yes, that they'll get into the playoffs, but I'm just looking at the teams above them. And I think they definitely could. I'm not ruling it out, but Billericay obviously beat them when we watched it. Cray Wanderers, Dartford, Brentwood, Chatham, Aveley. I think no and no. I don't think. I think they're just going to miss out Burgess Hill, but then I think they'll be really strong candidates for next season. Just as I said, because those teams above, I just think they've got a little bit more experience and a bit more quality. But I wouldn't rule it out completely. And then hashtag it's just the form, the fact that they've lost so many key players, and then just those games in hand, mate. Potter's Bar, Welling, Canvey, all with 2 games in hand. As you said, Paper Mills, a game in hand. Wingate and Finchley got 3 games in hand on them, so it's not looking good. But might stick my neck on the line actually and say no and yes. I do think they'll stay up now because I'm just looking at the points gap is 8 from Canvey. So even with those those games in hand, that's only 6. So I'm going to be controversial, go against the grain and say, I think they'll stay up, but I don't think Burgess Hill will get playoffs.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to say yes for Burgess Hill getting playoffs because I back him because of Gary Mansell, the big college manager. He loves it. Probably focusing a bit more on the Burgess Hill playoff places than my college football team, but that's completely understandable.
Priority.
Priorities, exactly. But yeah, I've watched Burgess Hill, I think, 3 times now this season, and I think they've got the quality throughout the pitch to really challenge teams in the playoffs and, go toe to toe with teams and have a real shot at it this season. And they already have and surprised a lot of people to be in the position that they're in at the moment. So I'm going to say yes for that they get the playoffs. And I'm going to say yes for hashtag because I want them to start because it gives the league a bit more of a platform because hashtag have got thousands and thousands of followers and sort of brings the league a light really that they're in this division already, but it's hard to say yes because of how inconsistent they are. But I think with the club's stature and how many fans watch them online, I think if they get in a situation where they really are in the mix of it in relegation, they'll get loads of fans going out to watch them and really supporting them to try and stay in the division. Because even though not a lot of people go to them, a lot of people online care about the club and support them a lot. So I really do hope they stay up, and that's why I'm going to say yes to that question as well. So 2 yeses from me. What did you say, Simon? 2 no's?
No, I said yes and no.
Yes and no, and yes and no. So I got 2 yes, and we got a yes and no, and a yes and no. But that's a good way to end it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a very good episode, and we'll be back next week as usual, hopefully with happier Brighton fans, let's hope. So we will see you next time. Goodbye from me.
Cheers, bye.
See ya.